Hello, I'm David Cassidy with the weekly market summary for the week ending Friday, the 17th of July. It was very much a week littered with news, data and central bank meetings. This flow of information saw markets have their fair share of volatility, yet the majority ended the week in positive territory. This is typical of what we are to expect and see from markets over the coming months. Early in the week, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that it will be compulsory for individuals to wear a face covering in shops in England from this coming Friday, the 24th of July. While there was and still is confusion over why shop staff are not required to wear face masks and why it took the government so long to impose this measure, this mandatory step will likely aid a staving off of a second wave of the virus. This confidence was echoed in Boris Johnson's addresses on Friday, the 17th of July, where he effectively reopened public transport for regular use by the general population, albeit with guidelines remaining in place. He also went on to say that it was his strong and sincere hope that social distancing would end by Christmas, while also introducing new powers for local authorities to impose local lockdowns and also injecting a further $3 billion in support to help hopefully prevent a second wave of the virus. Midweek saw two key central banks have their respective policy meetings, the European Central Bank, the ECB, and the Bank of Japan, the BOJ. Both banks announced little changes to their policies. The ECB president, Christine Lagarde, was cautious and accommodative, while the Bank of Japan governor, Haruhiko Kuroda, was more direct in stating that they believe the worst of the pandemic is over, but the recovery would be slow. With this in mind, it seems likely that Europe and Japan will deviate in their paths to recovery, with Japan having been in deflation for around 2 decades prior to 2013. They are fighting a more long-term and structural battle against deflation, and as such, the current account policy has led to the BOJ owning the lion's share of Japanese government bonds. For this reason, primarily due to liquidity, the Bank of Japan is now having to purchase global equities in order to continue loosening liquidity. Whereas the ECB is in a very different position in that it is not stuck in a stagnant wage growth cycle, nor has dried up its access to the bond market. Consequently, the ECB is able to expand out its asset purchase program in a much more targeted manner. Friday, we saw the beginning of a 2-day meeting of the EU leaders, which should give further support to the European Central Bank's measures. On Tuesday, we saw some positive safety trials from a coronavirus vaccine from Moderna that saw their stocks surge as much as 18% in intraday trading. While this is a positive step, the end of the week was marred with allegations that the Russian intelligence agency hacked international research centres for access to vaccine research. While it is easy to appreciate what is at stake for the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries, it is hoped that this protectionism of their intellectual property won't hinder their progress. With this coming in a week that saw Brazil break through 2 million cases of the virus and India break through 1 million. In terms of data, this week was full of economic releases such as Chinese trade data and GDP, European inflation and US industrial production and inflation, all of which performed extremely strongly. However, the weaker than expected UK GDP data was a little more sobering and serves as a reminder that while the global economy is on a journey to recovery, it will take time, and why we have alluded to the V-shaped recovery possibly looking more like a Nike swoosh. This coming week, There are multiple data sets that are due out, with some of the more significant ones being the weekly US jobless claims data and the Euro area consumer confidence for July, both dug out on Thursday, the 23rd of July, and the UK's PMI Purchasing Managers Index for July, as well as retail sales for June, both due out this coming Friday.